If you are over 70 and you have been eating eggs every morning because you heard they are the best protein for building muscle, I need you to stop and watch this carefully. Because what research is now showing us about protein and aging is not just surprising, it directly contradicts what most people in this age group have been doing for years. A landmark study published in the Journal of Nutrition, conducted in collaboration with researchers at Tufts University, found that adults over 70 who drew protein from a variety of sources increased muscle protein synthesis by up to 32% compared to those relying heavily on a single source. That gap, 32%, is not a small rounding error. It is the difference between a body that is actively rebuilding muscle and one that is quietly losing it week by week. And here's the part that changes how you think about this completely. The most effective muscle-building protein for people over 70 is not the one sitting on your breakfast plate. It is one most people in this age group have never considered. We will get to it. It is number one on this list, and the research behind it stopped me in my tracks the first time I read it. My name is Dr. Pardip. I've spent more than 2 decades in internal medicine, and if this channel has been valuable to you, please subscribe and stay with me until the end, because number one is the one that matters most, and everything before it is building the foundation you need to understand why. Before we start, I want to ask you something honest. Over the last 2 or 3 years, have you noticed that things feel heavier than they used to? That getting up from a low chair takes more effort? That your legs feel less reliable on stairs? If so, leave your age in the comments below. I read every one, and what you share genuinely shapes what I cover next. Number 8. Greek yogurt. Most people think of Greek yogurt as a light, healthy breakfast option. What they do not realize is that it is one of the most targeted muscle support foods available to older adults. Researchers at McMaster University found that older adults who consumed high-protein dairy regularly experienced a 15% increase in lean muscle mass over 12 weeks. The reason comes down to one specific amino acid, leucine. After 70, the body develops what scientists call anabolic resistance, a reduced ability to convert dietary protein into actual muscle tissue. Leucine acts like a biological override switch, signaling the muscles to begin the rebuilding process even when that resistance is working against you. Think of it as a key that unlocks a door your body has been slowly closing. Have a serving in the morning or within an hour of light exercise and pair it with dark berries. The antioxidants reduce the low-grade inflammation that silently interferes with muscle repair. Number 7. Lentils. This one surprises almost everyone, and it should not. A study from the Harvard School of Public Health found that plant-based proteins like lentils can reduce the risk of accelerated muscle loss by up to 18% in older populations. Lentils bring something to the table that most animal proteins cannot, a combination of protein, dietary fiber, and iron in a single food. Iron matters here more than most people realize. It is what allows your red blood cells to carry oxygen efficiently to working muscle tissue. Without adequate iron, your muscles are like an engine with a clogged fuel line. The power is there in theory, but it cannot be delivered. Simmer lentils into a warm soup in the evening and add a squeeze of lemon juice. Vitamin C dramatically improves iron absorption from plant sources, and that single habit turns a good meal into a genuinely therapeutic one. Number 6. Salmon. The research on salmon and muscle preservation in older adults is among the most consistent in the field. Scientists at the University of Washington found that the omega-3 fatty acids in fatty fish like salmon can enhance muscle protein synthesis by 25% in seniors, a figure that rivals many pharmaceutical interventions. Here is why that number is so significant after 75 specifically. By that age, The mitochondria inside your muscle cells, the microscopic structures responsible for producing energy, have begun to lose efficiency. Omega-3s function like a precision tune-up for those energy factories, improving how cleanly and completely they operate. I had a patient I will call Vivienne, 78 years old, who came to me unable to rise from a chair without using both armrests and significant effort. After adding twice-weekly salmon alongside a simple resistance routine, within 3 months she was walking independently on outings with her grandchildren. That is not a coincidence. That is biology responding to the right input. Grill or bake salmon for lunch twice weekly and pair it with dark leafy greens to compound the anti-inflammatory effect. Number 5. Cottage cheese. If you're not eating cottage cheese before bed, you may be losing muscle every single night without knowing it. A clinical trial from the University of Texas demonstrated that slow digesting proteins, specifically casein, which is the dominant protein in cottage cheese, can reduce overnight muscle breakdown by up to 22%. Here is what is happening while you sleep. Your body enters a fasting state for 7 or 8 hours. Without a slow, sustained source of amino acids available, it begins drawing protein from your existing muscle tissue to meet its overnight maintenance needs. Cottage cheese releases casein gradually across 4 to 6 hours, providing a steady supply of building material that keeps that process from dismantling what you work to build. A small bowl 30 minutes before bed, optionally with a few walnuts for healthy fats that slow digestion even further, may be one of the simplest interventions available to you. Number 4. Chicken breast, but the timing is the actual point. Chicken is familiar to almost everyone, and that familiarity is part of why the most important finding about it gets overlooked. A study from Stanford University found that distributing protein intake evenly across 3 meals improved muscle retention by 28% in older adults compared to those consuming the majority of their protein at dinner. Most people over 70 eat a light breakfast, a moderate lunch, and load most of their protein onto the evening meal. That pattern works reasonably well when you are 40. After 70, with anabolic resistance working against efficient protein absorption, a large bolus of protein at one meal simply cannot be fully utilized. Slice grilled chicken into a midday salad or a broth-based soup. Pair it with quinoa or another whole grain to build out a complete amino acid profile. What you do at lunch matters as much as what you do at dinner. Number 3. Tofu. I understand the skepticism, and I ask you to set it aside for a moment. A study conducted by the National Institute on Aging found that soy-based proteins can stimulate muscle protein synthesis at rates approaching those of animal proteins in adults over 65. What sets tofu apart beyond its protein content is its concentration of isoflavones, compounds that actively reduce systemic inflammation and support hormonal balance, both of which deteriorate significantly after 70 and both of which directly impair the body's ability to build and hold muscle. Think of chronic inflammation as corrosion on the internal machinery of your muscles. The more you reduce it, the more efficiently that machinery functions. Lightly saute tofu with mixed vegetables and add turmeric. Curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, has its own well-documented anti-inflammatory properties and works synergistically with the isoflavones in soy. Number 2. Hydrolyzed whey protein. Standard whey protein is beneficial. Hydrolyzed whey protein is in a different category entirely. Research from the Mayo Clinic found that hydrolyzed whey, a form that has been pre-broken down into smaller peptide chains, increases muscle protein synthesis up to 40% faster than standard protein sources. The reason this matters so much after 70 is digestive efficiency. By this age, the gut's ability to break down and absorb whole proteins has declined by as much as 30% in many people. Hydrolyzed whey bypasses that bottleneck because the breakdown has already been done before it ever reaches your digestive system. I want to tell you about a patient I will call Bernard, 81 years old, from the Southwest, who had lost close to 10 pounds of muscle over 2 years despite eating what he considered a healthy diet. After incorporating hydrolyzed whey protein following his daily resistance band sessions, combined with the dietary changes we discussed with his care team, he regained functional strength within a few months and returned to his vegetable garden, which he had quietly given up on. That garden mattered to him far more than any fitness metric ever could. Mix hydrolyzed whey into a shake after exercise and pair it with a banana for rapid carbohydrate delivery that helps shuttle the protein into muscle tissue. And now, number 1. The most powerful muscle supporting protein for adults over 70 and the one almost nobody is using: collagen peptides. A study published in the British Journal of Nutrition found that collagen supplementation combined with resistance training produced a 12% increase in muscle mass and a 20% increase in strength in elderly men over a 12-week period. But collagen works through a mechanism that is completely different from every other protein on this list. Rather than directly fueling muscle fiber growth, it rebuilds and reinforces the connective tissue, tendons, ligaments, and the fascial structures that hold your entire musculoskeletal system together. Here is the analogy that makes this clear. If your muscles are the cables on a suspension bridge, collagen is the structural framework those cables are anchored to. After 70, that framework deteriorates faster than most people realize, and when it does, joint pain and instability become the limiting factor, not muscle weakness itself. People stop moving because movement hurts and the muscles atrophy from disuse. Collagen addresses the root of that cycle. I had a patient I will call Nora, 76, who had been managing chronic joint discomfort for years and had gradually reduced her activity to the point where independence felt precarious. After adding collagen peptides and a gentle, progressive movement routine, she reported a meaningful reduction in daily joint discomfort and within several months felt confident enough to travel independently again. Add 1 scoop of collagen peptides to your morning coffee or tea and take it alongside a source of vitamin C. Ascorbic acid is a required cofactor in collagen synthesis and roughly doubles the effectiveness of each dose. Here is the truth that the conversation around protein and aging rarely reaches. After 70, your body does not simply need more protein. It needs the right proteins at the right times from the right variety of sources. Your muscles are not finished growing. They are not beyond responding, but they require more precise inputs than they did at 40 or 50. Scientific references for every study mentioned are in the description below. Choose 1 or 2 of these foods this week and make them a consistent part of your routine. Track how you feel after 3 weeks. The changes compound quietly but reliably. Because muscle is not just about strength, it is about standing without hesitation, moving without fear, and living without asking for assistance. It is about dignity. Every meal either moves you toward that or quietly away from it. Start today. Tell me in the comments which of these proteins you are going to try first and what your biggest obstacle is when it comes to staying strong after 70. Subscribe to Stay with Dr. Pardip and share this with someone who deserves this information.